First off, President Ashe, thank you very much for joining me here.
You're welcome.
My first question, your current role has you serving as a mediator, listening to all the parties at these talks as well as at the General Assembly back in New York City. But formerly, you were a UN ambassador yourself. You participated as a negotiator at these talks. What do you bring personally to this topic of climate change, particularly, and maybe what impacts do you really fear for your home country?
Well, I think what's important for any interlocutor for this process is an in-depth knowledge of what it entails. And having been involved from the very outset, I was a vice president of the COP at the very first session back in Berlin in 1995, and have been involved at various levels throughout the process up until 2010. So I do have an intimate knowledge of the process itself.
You said in your remarks here yesterday that the process of global climate consensus takes a step back and only becomes bleaker when the same old arguments are repeated. Are you starting to hear different arguments here in Warsaw this week?
Well, the week still has some way to go, so I suppose by the end of it, I will. But more importantly, though, as you, I'm sure, are well aware, the goal here is to set the stage for the future COPs, Lima in 2014 and Paris in 2015. So in that sense, yeah, we're in the early stages.
Christiana Figueres said last Thursday at an event that if she could have her way, there would be more telepresence at these events. Fewer people would actually have to come to them. And I'm wondering now that Ban Ki-moon has called next year to have a conference at sort of a neutral site in New York City, just after your presidency ends. Do you think that's maybe a better way of doing that? It sort of avoids the distraction, not only the carbon emissions, but the distraction of having to set up in a new city every time a negotiation happens.
Well, let's be clear. What he is doing is bringing the discussion at a higher level, at the level of heads of state and government, in the hope that we will have some decisions and an outcome that will be positive and could feed into the negotiating process. But I don't think it was intended to substitute the current negotiating structure.
And finally, what do you want to hand off to your successor next September on the issue of climate change?
Well, as you know, I have a theme, and I'm looking at the post-2015 development agenda. So, yeah, I would like to have set the stage, which is the title of the theme, for my successor. And I hope that wherever there's an interface with climate change, it would be a smooth one.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.